Hello and welcome back. We are continuing with today's video. We've done the first class in which you learned the basics of Revit modeling. And in this class, we explore some more tools, continuation of that first class, where we'll see some slightly more advanced tools in Revit architecture. So let's get into it. First thing I want to do is to create roof concrete fascia around this building. So let's begin. First thing, I'm going to go to the level I want to create the roof fascia, which is level 2, which is the roof level. So I can double click here to roof. And on my roof plan, level 2, you can see I have the view of the roof. The roof is cut in this view. And I have an underlay of the current floor plan. So here we have there are two types of underlay. You can see what is beneath you, and you can also see what is above you. So here we have the base and the top range underlay. So basically, you're asking the underlay to look down. If you come here and you click none, you see you have no underlay. But now, for me to be able to create the roof cornice, I need to create an underlay. So I'm going to turn it on and leave it at ground level. So this is okay. So now we are going to create the concrete roof fascia. Step 1. The first step, you go to architecture, click on component, and under component, you click on the down arrow here and you click model in place. When you've clicked on model in place, normally here, I don't want to waste your time, just select casework and click OK. It's going to ask you to name the casework. If you wish to do that, there's no problem. You can call this concrete roof fascia. So what you're doing is that you're creating something that is not by default in Revit. And once you click OK, it takes you to the sketch mode where you are able to create components for yourself that are unique to your own project. So step 2, you are going to click on sweep. Under forms, you click on sweep. After clicking on sweep, there are two things to achieve sweep. One is a sketch of a part, and then you sketch a profile. So if I would explain it to you, what sweep does is this. If you draw a straight line, and on that straight line you draw a square, it's going to create a square pipe when you are done, when you click finish. So that's what sweep is. So the name sweep actually comes from the fact that you take a profile and you sweep it around the part. And that's what we're going to do. So let's get back to the class. So I'm going to click on sketch part. There are two options here, sketch and pick part. Let's start with this one. I'll click on sketch part, and it's going to turn into a line, giving me options to draw a line. I'm going to draw this line at the external of my wall, and it's going to be a continuous line. So I'm going to start from here. You can start from any point, but I'll start from here. So step 3 is to draw the part. And I'm going to draw this all the way. Now you have to be careful when doing this, because what you are working with here is the underlay, and you are not working with the actual view part. So the underlay is normally faded, so you may not be able to see it clearly. So I've done this is a continuous stretch of line, and you can see the line, and then you can also see a red dot somewhere on the line. I've pressed escape twice. Now before you click finish, this red section line, if you click on it, you can actually drag it around the line. And this is important in case you want to work in any particular view, for example. This can only be done before you click finish edit mode for the sketch part. Because I started drawing from the back, the first line you draw is where this section is going to be cut. But I can click on it and drag it to this end if this is where I want to work from. And after this, you click finish, and then the sketch part becomes black. That means you finish working on the part. Step 3, you select this dotted section line on the profile. And you can either load a profile, or you click on edit profile to create a specific profile for this project. So I'm going to click on edit profile. So I'll click on edit profile, and it's going to ask me which view to go to draw the profile, because I'm working on plan And when you cut a section, this is how it works. When you cut a section on plan, it's just a line. For you to view the section you've cut, you have to go to an elevation view that is perpendicular to that section so that you could see the section you've cut. So because we've cut a section this way, we have to actually stand in front here 90 degrees, either north or south view. So I'm going to select south view and click open view. And so this is where I'm now going to draw the concrete profile I want to use. So I'm going to use line. It takes me back to the sketch mode. I'll bring it here, this 625. I'll bring it here, maybe another like 625 also. While the line is active and drawn, I can type in 625, click on enter, and then I can go ahead to draw the profile. You might have an image of a profile you want to create, or we can just create a standard profile. So I can do this 100, 75, 75, 75. I'm just using 75 mm to create a series of steps, and I'm going to click on tangent arc. This will just, from that point, give me an arc that is tangential to what I've done. And after that, I can go back to click on the line, and it goes back to being a straight line. So I can come here, continue my 75, 75, maybe 50, and I'll just join it. The arc here is 303.5, just so you want to get exactly what I've done. So I've done this profile, and I'll click finish, and it turns black again. Now, just to explain to you how sweep works, I'll go to the 3D view, and you'll be able to see it clearly here. You can see the line in black, and you can see the profile in black. And when you click finish mode under the sweep, it's going to sweep this profile around the line. So I'll click finish, and that's what you have there. So you can see what we've just created, the roof, concrete roof fascia. You can only apply materials to components you create while in the component mode. So I'll click finish. So this is how to create a concrete roof fascia. I want to reduce the thickness of this particular roof. I'll select this roof, click on edit type here. Under type, this is the thinness roof, 125 mm. I'm going to duplicate, click on duplicate. This is how to edit roof. And I'm going to rename it, because since you are duplicating something, you are creating a new one, so you have to rename it. So I'm going to rename this to, let's say, post roof are less than 5 mm, but I'm just putting this 10 mm roof, and I'm going to reduce this thickness to, let's say, I'm just going to leave it at 5 mm. 5 mm roof. So the roof is really tiny, and okay, the ceiling is now protruding through the roof because the ceiling too is really thick. I'm just going to reduce the ceiling by minus, I'm bringing the height offset of the ceiling by minus 50 so that it's down from that level. So this is what we have right now. We have a very thin roof, and then we have our concrete fascia over the roof. So this is how to make a concrete fascia using sweep in Revit architecture. The next thing we are looking to create in order to master this idea of using sweep properly will be window hoods. So let's begin. The first step to creating window hood is that you should know the exact window you are creating it on and which elevation that window is in. So I want to create a window hood for this particular window. So I'm going to select this window is on the front elevation. I'll double click to south elevation, and you can see the selected window. So this is where I'm going to create my window hood. And the next thing will be to go to architecture under component and click model in place. Once you do that, select casework, click OK. We can write window hood here. Click OK. Now we are back to where we've just finished creating our concrete fascia. The first thing you want to do is to draw your path. So click on sweep, takes you to the sketch mode. Now you click on sketch path. Now you can easily click on pick path, but I always enjoy sketch path if I'm working on a 2D surface. Now when you click on it, it's going to ask you specify work plane. Now this is very important. The reason being that once you're working on a plan, the plane is known. You're either on ground floor, first floor, or second floor. If you're working on an elevation, the plane is not known because in that elevation there are various planes. So you'll be required to pick a wall or a surface for Revit to know which plane you're working on. So click on pick a plane and click OK. Now I'm going to pick this plane for this wall. To pick a plane, you have to go to the edge of the wall that is visible in that view. Here is this base wall. Once you take your cursor to the edge, a blue highlight forms around that wall. It's like asking you, is this the plane you want? Yes, this is the plane I want. I'll click OK with the blue highlight on, and I will now be able to draw on that plane. So I'll start my sketch path. I'm going to sketch around the edge of the window. Now this sketch I'm making, sorry, it didn't start at the base, so I need to start at the base. I'll select this line, click this edge, drag it to the base. So I've done this, and this is good for me. The next thing, I remember what I said. You can easily select this and drag it around depending on which elevation you want to work on or which view. So if I'm leaving it this way, it means that I'm going to work on this on plan because I can only look from the top or below it. If I leave it this way, that means I have to work on it on elevation from the left or right hand side. For me, which is better, so I'm going to work on it on elevation. I'll leave it vertically and I'll click OK. It turns black to show you it has finished creating this view. And the next thing you want to do would be to click on Edit Profile and go to one of the east or west elevation. Click OK. So this is exactly where I'm drawing it. Based on where I drew this line, definitely the window is below and whatever I'm sketching would be above. So let's go ahead and draw a profile. I'm going to say this profile is like 155 mm by, let's say, 140. And I can do a tangent here. Let me click this line here, T lines, to make the lines thin. I hope you can still see what I'm working on. I use the tangent to do the first curve, maybe the second curve. You can go back to straight lines. I can have some series of edges. I can use the tangent again to make another curve, and I can decide to go for maybe like just a bumpy curve here and use straight lines. So what I'm doing here is just trying my possible best to create something that looks like one of these popular corners we can have at the edge of our windows. If it doesn't look well, I might still edit it. Click finish. Now when I go to 3D, you can see what I've created. The profile and the path. Once I click finish, it creates the window hood around the window. You can see this already done. Now, there is something else I might want to do here. I want to create the bottom hood, but for the bottom hood, I want to make it look different. This is a little bit too big for me. I might just edit this window hood. Go back to, I guess, east elevation. Okay, west. I'll go back to west elevation. Double click on it to edit as long as you are in Revit. Once you double click on a component in family mode, it goes into the edit mode, and you can keep double clicking like that to the end. So I want to rescale this. I want to show you a new tool on how to rescale. Let's say this is too big. I feel it's too big. I select the whole thing. I'll click on this scale button. The shortcut is RE, and then I'm going to select graphical rescale. Make sure it's graphical selected. Click this base here, the endpoint, and then you can click. For example, I can take this whole height here. This is 155. This is the next point I've clicked. Now, if you use graphical rescale, you don't need to drag again. Just move your mouse down that line. It rescales the whole thing down. So let's say I want to rescale it to like 115, and this is fair for me. Click OK and OK, and then I can go to the south elevation. I'm like, okay, this is good enough. So after I'm done creating this, I want to create the base. I wanted the base to be separate, so let's go ahead and create that. Before I start creating the base, I'm going to double click on this to edit this profile I created, and I will just select it and use this tool here under clipboard, the middle one, copy to clipboard to copy it. The shortcut is Ctrl+C. After that, I'll go ahead and click finish and finish. Now I'll go to the ground floor plan, making sure that I can see the base of what I just created. And then I'm going to start all over again. Go to create, go to sweep, go to sketch path. Now I'm going to use the edge of this particular part to create this. So I'm going to start from here, and I may or may not necessarily have to get to the edge. Do this and do this. So I'm doing this on plan because you'll see in a minute why I'm doing this on plan. So this is what I want. I think this can even go as far as this. So I just need a little protrusion from the wall, and I've drawn this line this way. And then I'll go finish, and then the line is already in north and south, so I didn't bother moving. Click on edit profile, go to south, click on open view. Now there is something that just happened. See where I'm creating my profile. I'm supposed to be creating it at the base of the window, but unfortunately I worked on the ground floor plan, so that's why it's here. But nevertheless, I can still move it up. Now I'm going to go to the clipboard, click on paste. From clipboard, I just clicked on the paste and the icon appears. So this is the icon I copied there. I need to mirror it, so I'm going to select it entirely. Click on the mirror pick axis. The shortcut is MM. I don't need to copy it, so I'll uncheck the copy. I'll click this vertical line here, and it mirrors it. I hope I'm not too fast. Now with this mirrored, I'll select this, click on move, click at the base of it and drag it to this point. And so I've created and placed my profile where it needs to be. Once I click finish, it turns black with the lines out, and then I'll click finish again, and then this is the base I've created. So what I need to do right now, there are two things I need to do. The first thing I need to do is to dissociate it from this view. Whenever you create something, you'll see this small line and the rectangle. It's showing you that it's associated to the plane. So for me to do that, I might just click this once, and then when I click on it again, you won't see it there. So that means it has been dissociated from the view. The next item I want to do is to align this to this. So I'll use the align tool, click on it, click the destination first of the align tool. A dotted line will appear around the destination, and then I'll click this edge is curved, so it's not allowing me, but nevertheless I'll just click on that edge. So it goes and aligns itself to the base of that element. So I can decide to use the up and down button and just move it up and down. So if I go to the 3D view, you can see what we've created. We've created a good, beautiful window hood. Now this is not parametric. So what that means is that if I need to do this for each window, if I need to do this, I need to do this and edit it for each window. But since I have this, editing it would be easy. So this is how you create your window hood. You might want to apply like a material to it. I should have done that to the fascia, but let's just do it here. You can select both of them, and under material and finishes, while you're already in the finish mode, just before the last finish, you can see material, you can see by category. When you click beside it, there is a small 3 button icon here, so I clicked on it. Maybe it was invisible, but once you click close to this edge, it takes you to the material browser. So for now, I don't want to go in depth into it, but what we'll do is we can just look for something like a white color. Just type white here on the material browser. So you can see gypsum whiteboard. We can just select that particular material, it doesn't matter, and apply it to the window fascia with the window hood. So this is how you create window hood. I'm going to go ahead to group this, select both of them, and create a group. So under create here, you can see create group. So the shortcut is GP. I'll click on it, and we can call this window hood. Okay, so with this, we've created a group, and the group is inside the family. So why did I create a group? Because I can easily go to the ground floor, select it, and copy it around. So I can take this, click on copy, and then maybe move it here. I will need to now rotate it. So I'll click on the rotate icon, click anywhere, type in 90 degrees, click enter, and it rotates. So all I need to do is, you can tag it out, use your move icon, just use this base and place it at the base of the wall, and it's going to be there. So what did I just find out? It's like this window and this window are not the same size. So let me check that out. This one 810 and this one 5. So you can see, because of that, I will need to adjust this particular one. So for me to do that, I have to select this. This is on the west elevation. I'll go to the west elevation. The first thing you need to do is to ungroup it, because the thing about a group is once you edit one, it affects others, but we don't want that here. So I'll double click, and double click again, and then select this line, drag it to this end, click finish, and click finish again. I'll do the same process here to edit. Double click, then you double click on this sketch part. It will ask you which floor, go to the ground floor. And all you need to do is to take this line and move it to this, I think, the end of the profile. Yes. Then you click finish, and you click finish again. So when I go back to west elevation, I have a new group. So I have two groups, and I can select this one, and I can create a new group, and I'm calling it window hood 2 or 1.8, whichever one, 1.8 meters. So you can remember that, and click OK. So I have a group here, window group of 1.8 meters, and I have the window group of maybe 1.5 meters. So depending on how many types of windows, you might be able to create, some varieties. One in anyway. Groups make your Revit work heavy. So if you don't have a powerful system, you may not just group it. You can decide to just, leave it open and just copy it around. It still works. It's just groups makes it easier to edit a lot. So if you have a big project, maybe grouping might not be the best way to go about it. So this is how to create window hoods for different windows. When you are done for all your windows, you click finish, and you can see the window hood around. What I might want to do here is this is a 1.8 window. You can delete one of them, come to the ground floor, and centralize it. I'll use align tool to centralize it to the one at the back. So you can see whenever I select the window hood, all of them are selected. So you can't copy it once you are done from the exit mode, except you have to double click on it. Then you can go to the sketch mode. Here I can copy, move it here, and what do? Rotate by 90 degrees, and then you can use the move tool to move this base to this base, and it fits perfectly. So with this, you can create window hood all around your building. I'm just going to copy this around the big windows, and for the smaller windows, you would use the edit tool to do that. So I've been able to copy the window hood around. I'm going to also edit and place for the toilet. For this particular windows, we can adjust it, the windows. The windows are 900 by 12. I can duplicate the windows, change it to, let's say, 610 by 12, and then adjust the rough width to 610 by 12. So what happens is only this window adjusted. So with this, it gives me a lot of space outside to copy the window hoods beside it. And then I can just use match properties, which is beside the paste button on that clipboard, the shortcut being MA, to select this window and match properties. So once you do that, you discover that, say, we have tinier windows, and I can place window hoods all around this. Or I can decide to just place one gigantic covering of a hood around this window and doors. So, but this is how you do it. I might not necessarily bother there because they are recessed walls. But basically, this is how you go about creating window and door hoods. Now we're continuing with the next step. I would like to show you how to create wall reveals and sweeps in Revit. Let me show you what I mean by that. If you're looking at this image, these recesses on the walls are referred to as wall reveals in Revit, and this kind of protrusions around the walls are referred to as wall sweeps. This one's also, but I'm sure you know how to create this already, so let me show you how to create this. So we're back in Revit. I want to do that on some part of my wall, not all the wall. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to go to the floor plan. I'll click on Modify tab. I'll go to the Split tool, which is this. I'll click on it, and I just want to split out some walls and give it a different thickness. So I'll click once on the wall and just at the edges of these two windows. So what I'm doing right now is I'm splitting this wall, and I'm just going to do it here again at this other edge. So that's done. I'll press Escape to go out from it. If I go to 3D, if I select just these walls by the corners of this window, you see they give me a different kind of wall. They are separate from these other walls, not different kind, but just separate. And I'll select these two edges also. And what I want to do is basically to go to the wall type and assign a new wall to them. So what I'm going to do is I'll click on Edit Type. Let me say I just want to create a different wall. Click on Duplicate because I want to duplicate these walls to be separate. I'll rename it to 230 mm walls. And also, I'll go under Construction Structure, click on this Edit tab here, and rename the thickness here to 230 mm. And click OK. OK. And these walls will get thicker than the rest of the walls. So if I go to the ground floor by double-clicking on that floor plans, the ground floor, and I come here, you notice that these walls are slightly thicker. So what I want to do is I'm going to use the Align tool. I'll select this existing wall and align it so that on the internal space, it's going to be the same. So I don't want multiple align. I'm going to uncheck it here. I'll select the existing face and then align it. Now, when doing this alignment, try as much as you can to ensure that the walls are not moving. The walls you don't want to move are not moving. So I'll select this existing wall and align this. I'll also come here. Now, sometimes this kind of things happen. You see there are three lines here. One, maybe one, two. These two lines here. This wall showing is that this new wall pushed the floor off the line of the existing floor because some floors are attached to the wall. But nevertheless, when you align them, the floor goes back and everything is okay. So I've done the alignment. If I go to the 3D, you'll discover that you can see what I've created, that there is a slight thickness difference between these two. So the next thing is to apply sweeps to this wall now and reveals. But I'll start with reveals. There are two ways to apply reveals to a wall. There is a faster way to do it, and then there is a slower way to do it. So let's start with the faster way to do it. For you to do it the faster way, the first thing you need to know is the size and thickness of your reveal. So let's say in this case, this particular image, you need to know what you want to make this size, and then you need to create a profile for it and load it into the project. So that's the best way to do it. So let's go out and start that. You go to File, you click on New, and click on Family, and it's reminding me to save the project, which I will. And now it's going to take you to your template folder. Always go to English if you are using metric, like we are, not English Imperial, just English. And what we are trying to create here is a profile. So you go to metric and look for metric profile, just metric profile, and this is it. So you can use this template to create a profile that you can load into your project and create a sweep from. So I'm going to open it here, and then I'll go ahead to create a profile. So what I'm thinking is just a very tiny opening of like 30 mm by 30 mm. So I'm just going to use the line here and then draw 30 mm by 30 mm and press enter. So I started it at just right at the center, at the base of the intersection to the right. And then there are two things. You can just load this directly into the project, or you can save it for future uses, but I'm just going to load directly into the project, which I've done. So now let's start with the fast way. The fast way is this. You go to architecture, and under wall, you come to wall review. And under review, you click on edit type, and under profile, you will see default, and if you click, you'll see family one. This is the one you just loaded in, and you click on it, okay. Now, all you need to do is to go to the wall. Let me see, hidden line, so that you can see it clearly. Is to go to the wall where you want to place your profile, and just click to place. Now you need to select whether it's horizontal or vertical profile if you want, but definitely we are going horizontal. But it's just on this wall, and it's manually placed. Once you click on it and click out, you can see the profile. If you select it, you can add or remove walls, and you can modify returns and stuff like that. But if you select it and type CS, you can create more profiles. You can create more profiles and you can copy. Now, the disadvantage of this is that you may not necessarily get the spacing evenly. So the best thing is once you create the first ones, maybe left and right. Now, notice when I click once, I need to click out for it to appear. Once you get the first ones left and right, you can actually select both of them, go to an elevation, like let's say the front elevation, and then use copy or array. Let me use copy first. Use copy, use multiple, make sure multiple is turned on, and you can copy it multiple times consistently from one end to the other. So what I'm doing is I'm just repeating the copy at a consistent distance until it gets to the top. So this is it, and I've been able to create this. I can now take this, I can recreate this on the other side, even on elevation. I'll select an existing review, type in CS, and place it on this other end. Now, once I've done that, I can use the align tool to align this review and this review. They're already aligned anyways. If I go to the 3D, I like to work on 3D sometimes with reviews like this because it's easier to attach the corresponding review at this other face. So once I've done this and clicked, you can see these two are the same. I can select both of them. Now be careful not to select the wall. Make sure it's just the review you are selecting. Go to your elevation, and then I want to use array to do this. So the array tool is this tool here. The shortcut is AR. And you click on it. I already know the distance, which is 430. You do some settings. The first setting is that make sure it is on a linear array, not radial. The second setting is the number of arrays, but this doesn't matter, but I can say 5. The next one is move to second or last. I'll say move to second, since I know the distance between the first and the second, which is 430. So once I do this, I click vertically, like in the direction of the array, 430. It's going to create 5 instances. So what I think I need is 6 and you can easily edit it. So this is 6 instances, which is the same thing here. And this is a group. So what it means is once I edit one group, it affects the others. So this is another way to copy sweeps around. Now, like I said before, groups always make your work heavier. So the more groups you have, the heavier it becomes. So this is how we create review. It is the same way we can use to create sweeps. You create the profile, then you go ahead to do the opposite of what we've done. So let's just try that out. I'm going to go to File again, New, go to Family. Now, if the family takes you to English Imperial, you need to click back here, go back to Family Templates and go to English. If you don't have these templates to create different families, you will need to download it and look for someone that has it. If I can leave a link for it, fine, I'll do that. But if you downloaded the Revit properly, you should have it. Metric profile, click on Open, and then you create your profile. Now for the sweep, I need something a little bit bigger. So I need something like, let's say 135 by, let's say 40 mm, just a simple rectangle like this. And I'm loading it back into the project. I'll load it to the Revit file. Now I'll go to the 3D view. Under architecture, you go to wall, select sweep, not review now. And then you can click on edit type. If you want, you can duplicate it. Under the profile where it's default, you can select it. You see family 2, which is the second profile you've created. And if I go under this place and click on it, you see it adds it as a protrusion from the wall. If I select and say create similar on this wall surface, it's going to create another one on this wall surface. Now the challenge here is this: the sweep will run straight inside the wall. So if you don't want that to happen, like we did the last time, what do? You go to modify, you use your split element, and you split these walls. Let's say I want it to just run on the external walls. So I make sure that I split the external walls so that when I'm creating the sweep, you can see that it doesn't run on the internal walls. It just runs on the external walls. It's not fun for me personally to create it this way. There are other ways, but this is like the easier way to go about it in 3D. So this goes through the sweep stops at the door point, as you can see. And if I need to create more sweeps, I'll create it this way. If these two sweeps are not aligned, you can use the align tool, select like the base part of one sweep and align it to the other. So actually they are aligned. So because they are aligned. So this is how you go about creating sweep, and you create it wall by wall. So this wall goes in, so I need to split it for me to create that sweep to avoid conflict. But I'm sure you get the whole picture now. So this is how we're able to create sweeps and reviews on our project. One more thing we might decide to do is, you can also create these things around the column point here. So like in the reference image we saw there. So once you've done that, let me see if I can copy it to the other column. I know I've done it here. I can't see it on plan, but I've selected it. I know I've selected it because it's highlighted. I'll click on copy, and okay, I don't know if I clicked on move, so possibly I will not. Let me just check it on south elevation to see if I can copy this between one view and another. Copy this point. I'll click on constraint to unconstrain it, uncheck the constraint. So you can actually do all the things on one section of the building and then copy it to another section of the building. So this is how we place sweeps and review I can just play around by placing this on these columns. See, once it's rectangular like this, it copies once, and I use the array tool to copy it downwards. Let's say 6 items of array. Let's say 7 items of array. So this looks good. So when I select all these elements, for example, together with the tool, I hope I can copy it. Uncheck the constraint here for you to be able to copy some of these items, and make sure you can copy it maybe horizontally or vertically to another item. And then this is what we have so far. So for today's class, we've been able to make some updates to our 3D. We've added some elements, we've modeled some items to the walls and windows, and it's looking good already. We will continue with this project in the next video. Thanks for watching. I would expect everyone to recreate this particular things we've learned in this video in the project and submit it. Thank you. Catch you in the next video. Peace.